All right, Flo, can you hear me over there? Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. ODAC men's volleyball, the Grand Center in Danville, Virginia. Mic check, check, check. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. ODAC men's volleyball versus Bridgewater. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. ODAC men's volleyball at the Grand Center. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me over there, Flo? Check, 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 check. Mic check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. ODAC men's volleyball at the Grand Center. Check, check. Mic check. Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 3. Flo College, can you hear me over there? Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Test, 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 test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Test, 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 test. ODAC men's volleyball, the Grand Center. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Can you hear me over there, Flo College? Reply if you can hear me. Check, check, check. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Check, 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 check. Mic check. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. ODAC men's volleyball, the Grand Center. Check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me, Flo? Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Reply if you can hear me, please. Mic check. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me over there, Flo College? Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me over there, please, Flo? Or please reply if you can hear me. Check, check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me, Flo College? Check, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Test, 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 test. Check.
There we go. Back to later. Reaches. I'm using my new pad. Yeah, they're 2 and 7. Canceled. Oh, okay. God, we lost to Roanoke. Lost to Lynchburg. Oh my God, I didn't know Tiff was senior there. Bridgewater. Oh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Oh. 3. Alright. Okay, well, I have a notebook right here. What number? Okay. Okay, hold on. 7. 8. 9. 16. 18. Thank you. Okay. 2. 3. 11. 12. 13. 15. Thank you. Duel. Duel. He is Tommy. Oh God, this guy test. Okay. Sky test. Okay. Okay. Oh, there's an I. That's right. Why it's pronounced that way? Okay. 11. AJ White. receiver.
Okay.
Davian. And hello, fans. It's Saturday, March 14th, as we bring you some Saturday tri-match volleyball action. We're live here from the Grant Center here in beautiful Danville, Virginia, on the campus of Averett University here over at Averett University's North Campus. First match of the day is the home Averett University Cougars as they host the visiting Bridgewater Eagles. Last time out, the Cougars dropped the 3-0 match to Roanoke, as Roanoke took all three of those sets. The Cougars are on a 2-game losing streak coming into today's match. It's senior day here in Danville. Last win was here at home, where Averett beat Regent University 3-2. We're going to pause here for the national anthem, and we'll be back here on the Averett Sports Network in just a second. Back here on the Averett Sports Network, like I was talking about earlier, the Cougars come into today's match, tri-match, I should say, 4-14. Last time out was dropped a 3-0 match to Roanoke at Roanoke. The Cougars are on a 2-game losing streak. It's also senior day here in Danville. Last win was here at home, where Averett beat Regent University 3-2 in a last point match, which was the last tri-match that Averett hosted here this past week here at Averett. this is also the fact that the Cougars have the Bridgewater Eagles here at home, here in Danville. Happens to be a little bit of a revenge game here for Averett, as Averett also, last time they hosted these Bridgewater Eagles was at Bridgewater, was the where they lost to these Eagles in a in a 3-1 loss against Bridgewater. Now, let's turn over to the visiting Eagles. They're 3-19, dropped their last match at Randolph College in a 3-0 match, and they're also on an 8-game losing streak, which also was at Bridgewater. Last one was at Bridgewater against the same Cougars. The Cougars will be looking for a little bit of revenge. So let's take a look at the starters here for both teams. This is starting for the Bridgewater Eagles. It's number 2, Parker Duwall. Number 3, Tommy Viscitis. Number 11, Isaiah White. Number 12, Aiden Weaver. Number 13, Corbin Green. Number 15, Seth Williams. And number 22, Davian Hugh. Let's turn it over to your home Cougars. Starting for your home Cougars is number 1, Uriah Colazo. Number 7, Liam Aldrin. Number 9, Aiden Williams. Number 16, Luke Brown. Number 18, Nicholas Breen. And your libero is Julian Hernandez to start here for your home Cougars. As we get set to go here in just a moment, as the referees get set up at the far side of the net. Starting also for the Cougars is also number 8, Dominic Jenkins. As we get going here in Danville, it looks like it'll be the visiting Eagles to have the first serve, as it'll be number 12, Aiden Weaver, to start out here for the Eagles. Oh, here we go. As Weaver starts it out, as he'll be over to Hernandez. Finds Williams, as Williams is not quite able to put that one on the other side of the net. And the first point of the day will go here to the Eagles, as Williams was not quite able to put that one back over the net, as he was looking to send a missile onto the far side of the Eagles side of the court. So Weaver will back at it, as the Eagles with a little miscommunication as that one lands in. So the Cougars get even and will get their first serve of the day. And it will be Luke Brown here to start it out here for the Cougars. As Brown gets it over the Eagles side of the net, as Brown not quite able to find the bump there, as the Eagles will get a point back and will retake the lead. It'll be Corbin Green here to serve it away here for the Eagles, as that one goes way out of bounds. So back and forth we go here so far here in the first match of the day and the first set of the day, as it'll be Liam Aldrin here to start the serve here for the Cougars, as the Eagles will get it back over to Aldrin. Finds Brown on the far side. Back over to Breen, as Breen puts one away. Nicholas Breen with the excellent court vision, able to get one over onto the far side of the court, and was looking into the back far hand corner. So it'll be Aldrin here with a 3-2 lead here in the first set. Aldrin over to Viscitis, as Aldrin is not quite able to handle that one, So he'll bring the set back to a 3-3 tie with Tommy Vizcaitis back for the serve for Bridgewater. Vizcaitis gets over Collazo, back to Brown, sets it over for Collazo. Collazo's miss will go over the net. As this good dig for Bridgewater, gets back over the net. Back again goes Collazo, as that one is blocked and goes out of bounds off the hands of Bridgewater. So the Cougars will get the lead back here 4-3 in the first set, as that one went off the hands of Isaiah White. So it'll be Joel Hetherington here to check in here for the Cougars. Hetherington will get the serve, as he'll find the Eagles back over the net, as that one goes off of Brown. Aldrin is here on the near side to save it. Back goes Breen, as the referees will stop play here, as that one will be called for the Eagles. And we'll find ourselves in another tied set. So White will check out here for the Eagles. And it'll be number 1, Jeffrey Provost, to check in here for the Eagles. Back goes Breen. Back over the net. He's blocked on the Eagles side of the net. Again goes Breen. Saved there by the Eagles. Back over the net goes Bridgewater. Over to Hernandez. Set by Breen. Over to Collazo. Collazo puts that one away. Excellent play here by Uriah Collazo, as he's able to pick up the kill and able to give the Eagles no choice but to give the Cougars back the lead here in the first set, as Chuck Freeman will now get the serve here for the Cougars. As that one goes way out of bounds, as the Cougars will get another point here, so a 2-point streak here for the Cougars so far. Back over the net goes Freeman, and that won't go out of bounds. So the lead has been cut down to 1, as Freeman will check out here now for the Cougars. Back will be Seth Williams here to serve it away here for Bridgewater. Collazo finds himself over to Vizcaitis. Over the net to Aldrin. Hernandez with Collazo with a great save, as Brown is able to put that one away. A big pump here from Luke Brown on an excellent save by Uriah Collazo, is able to get that one over the net and able to land right in the front court for the Cougars. As Brown puts two consecutive points away for the Cougars, and the Cougars find themselves on a 3-point lead. Collazo over the net to number 22. That's Davian Hugh, as that point will go towards the Cougars. Collazo set back to serve here for the Cougars. Back over that to Hugh. Finds Vizcaitis. It's a big block there from Aldrin. Gets it back over the net. And gives the Cougars a 5-point lead here in the first set. So the Cougars have come out and gotten out to a hot start here, and what is revenge for the Cougars. Jenkins thought that he had Collazo on the far side, say on the near side, nearby our table up here. A little miscommunication from the Cougars. Over the net go the Eagles. That's Parker Duell. As Jenkins comes over and saves on this side. As he'll give the Eagles another point. So the Eagles on a 2-point streak so far. Set back, take the service duel. Fu finds Colazzo on the Cougar side. Sets it for Aldrin as Aldrin's ball goes long. As that one will be a point over to Bridgewater. So Bridgewater now within 2 after coming back and getting 3 straight points. So Duel, who get over to Hernandez, finds Brown for the set for Aldrin. Back over the net, a little miscommunication from the Eagles. Set goes Brown, back over to Jenkins. There's a big block here from the Eagles as a good dig there from number 1, that's Jeffrey Provost. Ends up in a point going over to Averett. So Jenkins now back to take the serve here for Averett, as he'll go over the net and a little far out of bounds, as he could not quite keep that one in bounds. So it looks like Davian, he will check back in now here for the Eagles. As it'll be Weaver back to serve here for Bridgewater. As Weaver's serve goes long, and the Cougars will get a 3-point lead now thanks to that one going out of bounds. So it'll be Luke Brown here back to take the serve. Brown gets it over to the side for the Eagles as Brown was right there over to Hernandez, who sets for Breen. Breen's shot goes over the net, but saved by the Eagles. Back to Hernandez, finds Aldrin as Aldrin's shot goes long. Aldrin clearly could tell that he was trying to aim for that back corner, but could not quite hit it where he wanted to. Hernandez finds Brown, steps it up for Breen. Breen's shot goes out of bounds. So Bridgewater now find themselves just within a point of the Cougars after a couple of shots have gone out of bounds, and it'll be number 13 for the Eagles, Corbin Green. Brown sets it up for Williams. Williams with Bridgewater right there. Over is Williams. As that one will be a double tap. So the Cougars will get a point back and a 2-point lead. Score so far being 13-12 in favor of Averett. Aldrin goes back over the net. Sets it up. As that one goes into the net. As the Cougars will get a 3-point lead here now. 14-11, looking for their first set win of the day. And keeping the momentum rolling. Colazzo. Brown sets it up back for Colazzo as Colazzo is pointed a big block on the far side in the brick wall of number 15, Seth Williams, and number 3, Tommy Vizcaitis. As that big block gives the Eagles back a point, the score now being 14-12 after the Bridgewater was able to get a point back. Colazzo was right there as Bridgewater goes back over the net, and that one goes long. So the Cougars will get a point back. So coach for the Cougars wants to talk it over here. So we're gonna take the timeout with them, and we will be right back here on the Averett Sports Network in just a moment. Check, check, 1, 2, 3. Check, check, 1, 2, 3. Back here on the Averett Sports Network after that Averett timeout as Aiden Williams will check out here for the Cougars and we'll bring in Joel Hetherington. So Hetherington will be back here to take the serve here for the Cougars as he was right there for the dig. Gets it over to Aldrin, back to Brown, who sets it for Collazo. Collazo will put that one away. Collazo with just a little tap right there in front of the net. Gives the Cougars a 4-point lead here, 16-12 so far here in the first set. Hetherington will serve it away here over to the Eagles. It'll be Vizcaitis. Back over to Aldrin. Finds Brown, who sets it for Collazo. Collazo's shot gets saved. Back when that go the Eagles, and it'll be off of Brown as Brown is not quite able to handle that one. As that one was just off of his forearms and could not quite keep it in bounds. (16-13) is your score here so far in the first set of this one between the home Averett University Cougars and the visiting Bridgewater Eagles. As Collazo's right there for Hugh. Back to Vizcaitis as a shot there from number 12. That's Aiden Weaver. As that one goes off of the Cougars and goes out of bounds, so it'll be a point that goes towards the Eagles. And it'll be Provost here back to take the serve here for Bridgewater. Provost gets over to Collazo. Collazo is right there again for the kill. So Collazo will get a point back here for the Cougars. Collazo is a dangerous weapon here for Averett, being their main striker on the, or say the main attacker on the at the front of the net. As that one goes long, but it stays inbounds, and it will cut the Cougar lead here now down to 2. So Chuck Freeman will check out. And it'll be Williams here for Bridgewater as that one will go long, and the Cougars will get a point back as they'll expand their lead to 3. Score now being 18-15 in favor of Averett. So Collazo will be back to take the serve. Buck of that go the Eagles, and it'll be off the hands of the Cougars. As there'll be point going towards Bridgewater, as they'll cut the lead now down to just 2. Parker Duo back to take the serve. Gets over to Collazo. Set by Brown as Jenkins could not quite get there. So another ball lands in front of Jenkins this time. And it'll cut down the Cougar lead to just 1. As we'll find ourselves in a close set here, being 18-17 in favor of Averett as Aldrin gets one over to Duel. Back goes Weaver. As Collazo is right there, and that one will go off Duel. Over to Vizcaitis. As that one is a big block there from Aldrin and Jenkins. As the Cougars will get a point back as Hernandez will check out here and will get a breather for the Cougars. Jenkins gets over to Duel. Finds Vizcaitis. As that was a big block but did not land in bounds as that kill will go for Aiden Weaver for Bridgewater. So it'll be Aiden Weaver here. Speaking of the kill, it'll be Weaver here again. Back take the serve here for the Eagles. As that one goes way out of bounds and way behind the back line. So the Cougars will bring the first set to within just 5 points, within, let's say 4 points, of taking set point. As Hugh can't quite handle that one, and the Cougars will find themselves on a 3-point lead. As Brown will get back over to Hugh on the Bridgewater side. Back to Vizcaitis as White is right there. Tipped by the Eagles. Back over to Brown. Over to Aldrin. Off of Hugh. Back to Duel. Over to White. Finds Colazo. Set by Brown. Back to Breen as Breen will tip it back over to Hugh. Finding Vizcaita. As that one can't quite get back over the net, as the Cougars will find themselves within 2 points of getting set point. So Bridgewater now wants to talk it over, so we'll take it with them here on the Averett Sports Network, and we will be right back in just a moment after the timeout. And back here on the Averett Sports Network with 3 seconds left in the timeout. So the Cougars on a little bit of a hot streak here so far here in the first set, as they have taken a 22-18 lead and are 2 points away from getting set point. As it'll be Luke Brown here back to take the serve here for the Cougars. As Brown will go over to Hugh. Back to Vizcaita. White is right there for the kill, as there was no one around to dig that one out. So the 3-point run ends, and it'll be back to Bridgewater here for the set, or save for the serve, and it'll be Corbin Green for the Eagles. As Hernandez sets for Breen, as Breen's ball goes off of Green. Tipped around as that one is put over the net, as Colazo can't quite bring it back in. So we're at a score of 22-20 here in the Grant Center, as the Eagles on a little bit of a momentum shift, as that one goes into the net and it can't quite get over the net on the part of Corbin Green. So the Cougars getting a point back. Score now being 23-20. This will be Liam Aldrin here to go on to get on the serve. It'll be dug by Hugh. Back over the neck of the Eagles. Over to Brown. Set by Aldrin. Back to Colazo, and Colazo gets the kill. You're right, Colazo on his strong side, able to find some space and give the Cougars set point here in the first set, as the Cougars are 1 point away from winning the first set here in this one. Aldrin's ball goes over to Hugh. Finds Vizcaitis. As a block there from Breen. Over to Vizcaitis. A big block there from Aiden Williams. And Uri Colazo goes out of bounds. So it'll be a 24-21 first set here so far in Danville, as the Cougars looking to put away the first set of the day. As Colazo sets it up, back over to Breen, back over to Colazo. Finds Hernandez, sets it up for Brown, as a ball goes off of the Eagles, as the Cougars will get the first set win of the day here in the Grant Center. So as we'll take a step back, and we'll take a step aside, I should say, as the Cougars take a 1-0 set lead here over the visiting Eagles of Bridgewater. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, and we'll be right back here with the start of the second set. As we get started here with the second set, right before we get started here, I'm going to give you a little bit of a few stats here before the start of the second set. As looking at the Bridgewater side, Tommy Vizcaitis had 1 kill, along with Jax Conley, number 4, who had 1, with Isaiah White picking up 2, and Aiden Weaver, number 12, picking up 5. He was a strong hand for the Eagles. As Seth Williams also picked up 2 for a team total of 11. The team attacks being at 26, as well as the Cougars looking at the Cougar side. Uri Colazo, the strong hand for the Cougars, sitting at 6. Liam Aldrin picked up 1. Aiden Williams picked up 1. Luke Brown picked up 1, and Nicholas Breen picked up 1 for a team total of 10. And then the team attacks looking at 31, 12 off of Colazo, 6 off of Liam Aldrin, 2 off of Dominic Jenkins. Aiden Williams picked up 3. Chuck Freeman picked up 1, and Nicholas Breen picked up 7. So we'll get started here with the second set, as Brown will bump it over to Hernandez. Finds Breen on the far side, as he'll tip it out, as that one will go off of Davian Hugh for Bridgewater. So the Cougars will get the first point of the second set. And it'll be Brown here, back to take the serve here for the Cougars. David Hugh for the Isaiah White. Back for Brown over Collazo. Sets up for Aldrin as that one hits the far side corner, but just lands out of bounds on the back line, as Bridgewater will tie this one up after that attack goes long. That strike, I should say, goes long. So Bridgewater will have the serve as Collazo can't quite get there, as that one will go off his forearms and will go out of bounds. And it'll be a point here for Bridgewater, so Bridgewater gets a 2-1 lead. As Collazo is right there after the serve, as Breen strikes it off the hands of Vizcaitis. So the Cougars, after that, have tied this one back up at 2 in the second set. So it'll be Liam Aldrin here back to take the serve here for Averett. Aldrin over the net to Duel. Back to White. A White on the attack, but a big block there from Williams and Breen. As that one goes across to Weaver. Saved by Hernandez. As Aldrin can't quite tip it back over the net. So Bridgewater will get a point back and will retake a 3-2 lead. So a better start here for the Eagles here in the second set. Over the net is Vizcaitis. Back to Collazo. Vizcaitis right there for Hugh. Over the net is Jackson. As that one goes off of Bridgewater, as the Cougars will tie this one up all at 3. As Bridgewater can't quite keep it in bounds. So Hetherington will check in here for Averett, as he'll go over the net on the serve, over to Jackson. Over the net goes Bridgewater, back to Brown. Sets up for Collazo, as Collazo is met with a big block and part of number 4 for the Eagles. That's Jax Conley. And number 12, that's Aiden Weaver. So Conley and Weaver were right there for the big block to give the Eagles back a point. So over the net goes Provost. As that one goes off of Jenkins, as Provost is right there. Big save as that one goes off the scoreboard. As the Cougars will bring the tie all back up. As that one will tie it up here again at 4. So the Cougars today keeping up right here with the Eagles. So Freeman will go over the net as the Eagles come back on the attack. Dug out by Hernandez, but can't quite be saved by Freeman. So Freeman will give the Eagles back a 1-point lead here, 5-4. And it'll be Seth Williams here for the Eagles here to serve it away here for Bridgewater. Williams goes over the net to Hernandez. Set by Brown over Collazo. Collazo tips it over. Vizcaitis right there. Back go the Eagles over to Hernandez. Finds Brown on the set to Collazo. Collazo on the attack. And it'll land inbounds. And it'll go towards the Cougars. As Weaver can't quite get back in front of that one. As the Cougars have tied this one up, back up at 5. So Collazo will be the one to get the serve. Over the net goes Vizcaitis. Back over to Weaver. As that one will land right in between Brown and Breen. So the Cougars and the Eagles going back and forth here so far here in the second set. Duel on the serve. Finds Hernandez on the Cougar side of the floor. As Jenkins goes over the net and over the back line. As the ref says, though, that one landed just out of bounds. So the Eagles now will have a 2-point lead here in the second set as they have turned it around after the first set deficit as Jenkins is right there in front of the net. Tipped by Aldrin. As the Eagles are right there, back over to Weaver. As a big block here from Jenkins, and Brown gives the Cougars back a point. And will give the Cougars a team kill. As they'll cut the Bridgewater lead down to just one. As the second set score will be here 7-6. As that one goes out of bounds off the hands of Jenkins. So the Cougars will give a 2-point lead here back to Bridgewater. It will be Weaver here back to take the serve here for Bridgewater. Weaver over the net to Collazo. Finds Brown on the set. Over to Aldrin as that one goes out of bounds. So Bridgewater has taken a 3-point lead here so far in the second set. 9-6 so far. Over the net goes Weaver. Finds Hernandez as that one lands out of bounds. As Bridgewater is taking a 4-point lead so far here in the second set. 10-6 so far. As the Cougars can't quite get the momentum going. Weaver finds himself over to Aldrin. Over to Brown. Sets up for Collazo as Collazo puts that one away for the Cougars as the Cougars' point drought finally ends. So they'll get one back here and cut the lead down to just 3 as the score now being 10-7 in favor of Bridgewater. As the Cougars are right there on the front of the net here for Williams and Aldrin as that one goes out of bounds. So the Cougars get another point back here. Now the score being 10-8, so the Cougars have now cut it down to just 2. Brown goes over the net. Set up. Back to Breen. Tipped around by Aldrin. Over the net to Duel as that one will go out of bounds off of Duel. So the Cougars will cut the lead down to just 1 and are 1 point away from tying this one up all at 10. So Brown will go over the net. He'll find Duel. Big block there from Aldrin and Williams. Will go out of bounds though, and will give the Eagles back a point. Over the net, over to Hernandez, who dug that one out. And it'll be a point in favor of the Eagles as that one was bouncing on top of the net. It had to be tapped back over by the referee. So it'll be Green back here to take the serve. Set up by Brown as the attack from Aldrin goes way out of bounds. So the Eagles have now built themselves a 13-9 lead here so far in the second set, as they'll look to expand that as Aldrin gets one off. Back over to Breen as Breen's shot goes off of Green. So Green for the Eagles can't quite handle it, as they'll go into the stands and it'll give the Cougars back a point. So as they'll only find themselves in a 13-10 deficit. White right there for the kill, as that one was an absolute rocket off the hands of Isaiah White. So Bridgewater will give themselves a 4-point lead so far here, 14-10 in the second set here in the Grant Center. As that one goes over Collazo, set by Brown, back over Collazo, set by Brown, over to Hernandez, back to Breen, off the hands of Vizcaitis. As that one is tipped around by the Eagles, set by Breen, over to Brown, back to Breen. That one was a big block off the hands of White and Williams here for Bridgewater. As the head coach for Averett wants to talk it over. As Coach Tiller wants to settle these guys down, so we'll take a break here with them here for the timeout. We'll be back here on the Averett Sports Network here in just a moment. And welcome back to the Averett Sports Network. If you're just joining us, we've got a good one here in the Grant Center so far as Bridgewater has taken a 5-point lead, or I should say 4-point lead here so far here over the Cougars, as the Cougars will get a point back. If you're just joining us, hi, I'm White Ockpole. Glad to be here with you for today's tri-match as the Cougars welcome in both the visiting Bridgewater Eagles and later on the Owls of Warren Wilson College, as they'll have that one at 5 o'clock here later on, as Collazo is right there for the kill. So the Cougars clawing their way back into this one, as they have cut the Bridgewater deficit to just 3. Back over there goes Vizcaitis. Big block there from Jenkins, as Collazo can't quite get there to dig that one out, as the Eagles will get a point back and take a 4-point lead again here in the Grant Center so far. So White will sub out here for Bridgewater. Whether you're here live and in person, catching this one here in the Grant Center, or online, watching it from home, we're glad you're here with us for this one here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Danville. And it'll be Provost getting over that to Jenkins, as Hugh can't quite handle that one. So the Cougars will cut the deficit to just 4. So Nicholas Breen will check out here for the Cougars. Back over the net goes Freeman. Over there is Vizcaitis. Over to Weaver. Weaver with Aldrin taking that one out. Over Collazo. Finds Freeman, who gets it back over the net for Hugh. Back over the net goes Weaver. Weaver on the attack, as that one will land just out of bounds, as the Cougars will get a point back. Freeman will go over the net. Back to Freeman. Over to Brown. Back over to Collazo. Collazo's shot is met by a big block on the near side. So Bridgewater will get a point back as they will take an 18-14 lead here in the second set. And it'll be Seth Williams back here to take the serve here for Bridgewater. As that one will go long. And the Cougars will find themselves within 3 points of Bridgewater. Collazo over the net, off the net, over the Hugh. As Hugh can't quite keep that one in, and the Cougars will get another point back here as they'll bring the Bridgewater lead to just 2. Collazo goes over the net to Hugh. Back to Vizcaitis. Over to Weaver as Weaver's shot goes over the net and lands inbounds as there was no one nearby that one. As Bridgewater is now taking a 3-point lead. 19-16 here so far, so the Cougars are going to have to do something here if they want to keep Bridgewater from taking the second set. So Duel will go over that to Collazo, set by Brown. Over to Aldrin. Over to Duel, over to Weaver. Dug out by Collazo, dug out by Duel. Back to Weaver as Weaver's shot goes over the net and hits the back line. And will bring them to just 4 points of set point. So Duel will go over the net, over to Hernandez. Finds Brown. Brown's set lands right over the net and right under the Eagle defense. So the Cougars will get an opportunity here to get some momentum back as Jenkins gets it back over, gets the point for the, gets it back over and gets the point here for the Cougars. As the Cougars will now pull to within just 3 of Bridgewater. As there was a little bit of a scoreboard issue, but it's now fixed. So it'll be Jenkins here back to take the serve again. As he'll get it over to Provost, back over to Weaver, as Weaver is right there for the kill. As that one landed right in front of the net and right in front of the Cougar defense. So the score is now brought to 21-18 in favor of the Eagles. And it'll be Weaver here back to take the serve as that won't go long. And the Cougars have now pulled it to within just 2. Brown goes over the net to Duel. Quickly set over the net. Over to Collazo. Finds himself over to Brown. Brown quick over the net to the Eagle defense. As it's blocked by Aiden Williams. Dug out by the Eagle defense. Set by the Eagles as that one is blocked by the Eagles on the near side. And Aldrin can't believe it. So it brings the Eagle lead to 3 by a score of 22-19. As Hernandez is right there for Duel. Back to Vizcaitis. Gets over Hernandez. As it's shot by Aldrin as that will go out of bounds off the hands of the Eagles. So the Cougars still very much with it in this one by a score of 22-20 here, only being down by 2 points here in the second set. Aldrin goes over the net. It'll be off the hands of Duel as he can't quite keep that one in bounds. So Bridgewater wants to talk it over after that one. So they'll take a timeout here and we'll take it with them. And we'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network in just a minute. And back here on the Averett Sports Network with the Cougars here for the serve, as it'll be Liam Aldrin back here behind the line for the serve. As Aldrin will go over the net, and it'll be just off the back line of the Eagle defense. So Bridgewater will now expand their lead to 2 by a score of 23-21. As this one is a tight second set here so far. Vizcaítas gets over to Hernandez, back over to Brown. As that one is a shot by Aiden Williams of the Cougars. As there was no one around that one for the Eagles on the back line. So the Cougars are still very much in this one, as Hetherington will get it over to Weaver. Finds Vizcaítas. Back over the net, as that one will be tapped over by number 9. That's Connor Kyer. Or say Colton Kayer. As he'll bring the Eagles to within set point. So if they manage to get this one over the net and onto the side of the Cougars, they will tie this one up at 1 set apiece, as that one goes off Vizcaítas, over to Weaver, as that one will go just off the back line, as the Eagles will tie this one up at 1 set apiece, as they will take the second set 25-22, and we'll take a break here on the Averett Sports Network with the start of the third set here in the Grand Center just within a few minutes. So we'll be back here on the Averett Sports Network in just a minute. third set about to get underway here in the Grand Center as the Eagles in the last set tied this one all up at 1 apiece. As the Eagles did so with taking a total of 21 kills, with Seth Williams taking 2. Aiden Weaver outstanding off the charts with 11. Corbin Green also contributing 1, as well as Jax Conley with 1, and Tommy Vizcayetas with 1. So it'll be Aiden Weaver here back to take the serve here for the Eagles. As Weaver's serve will go over the back line of the Cougar zone. So the Cougars with an early third set 1-0 lead here so far. Brown gets it over the net to Duel, finds Vizcayetas, back over to White. White can't quite get it over the net. Big block by the Cougars. White back over. Another block as Williams can't quite put it back over the net. So Williams will give the Eagles back a 1. Give the Eagles back their first point of the game, of the set. So Green will go over to Collazo, finds Brown, sets over Aldrin. Dug out by Weaver over to Hernandez, back over to Brown as Williams can't quite put it into the net. As Bridgewater takes a 2-1 lead so far here in the third set. Ball goes over the net for Hernandez. Over to Brown. Brain's shot met by a big block there by number 3. That's Tommy Vizcayetas able to put that one away for the Eagles as Bridgewater has now built a 2-point lead here so far in the third set. Corbin Green over to Hernandez. Over to Brown. Over to Collazo. Over to Vizcayetas. As Brown can't quite handle that one as it landed right in between Brown and Collazo. So Bridgewater so far bit themselves a 3-point lead as the Cougars have to be careful here not to let them totally run away with it as a block lands out of bounds off the hands of White and Green on the near side of the net. Gives the Cougars back a point, so the Cougars have now cut this lead to just 2. So Aldrin will go over the net to Duel. Finds Vizcayetas, back over to Weaver. As that won't go out of bounds, as the Cougars have now cut this lead to just 1. A close game so far here in the Grand Center for the first game of the day between the Cougars and the Eagles. As the third set is still, again, now only within a point. As Aldrin will go off the hands of Duel. So Duel can't quite keep it in bounds. So the Cougars have now called this one and have tied this one all up at 4. So Aldrin will go over the net to Hugh, back over to Brown, over Collazo as Collazo's shot stays in. Uriah Collazo with an excellent shot on the far side of the net. Lands in nowhere near around the Eagle defense as the Cougars have now taken the lead back from Bridgewater and given the Cougars a 5-4 lead so far. As that one lands inside the boundary of the far side of the net as the Cougars have now built themselves a 2-point lead. Aldrin back again here for his third serve of the set. Aldrin Over to Duel. Finds Vizcayetis. Over to White. White can't quite get it back over. Back over to Duel. Back over to White. Over to Colazo. Finds Brown, who serves it for back Colazo. Colazo can't quite keep it on net. Dug out by Hernandez. Dug out by Aldrin. Finds Vizcayetis. Back over the net. Go the Eagles. White is there right here to save it. So is Hugh. As that one is not quite saved by Hernandez, as the Eagles are hyped up about that one, as they have now cut the Cougar lead to just one by a score of 6-5. That one goes over the net, off of the hands of Duel. It's off the hands of Vizcayetis, as that one is off the hands of Hugh. Over the net go the Eagles, over to Aldrin. Back over to Brown. He sets it for Williams as his shot goes and gets dug out by the Eagles. Back over to Aldrin. Over to Brown, who sets it up for Colazo. Colazo's shot goes and stays in, as it'll be off the hands of Vizcayetis. So the Cougars get a 2-point lead back here to start this third set so far. Hetherington will come in now here for the Cougars, as that one lands just under the legs of Weaver, as Weaver mistimed that one, as he now gives the Cougars a 3-point lead here in the third set, 8-5, as Hetherington will find Vizcayetis, as it's dug out by Brown. Excellent dig there, as Aldrin gets the kill. Excellent shot by Aldrin. Brings the Cougar lead to 4, and it's all Cougars here so far in the third set by a score of 9-5, as the Eagles want to talk it over. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network, as we'll be right back here after the timeout. Nine to 5 is the Cougar lead here so far, with Joel Hetherington here back to take the serve here for Averett. As Hetherington will go over to Duel, set by Vizcayetis. It's a big block there from Jenkins, as Bridgewater can't quite get that one back, as they have now given the Cougars a 5-point lead here, 10-5. As Hetherington will be back here to take the serve again, as Weaver is right there. Dug out by Provost. Over to Aldrin. Set by Williams, as Colazo is right there for the kill. You're right, Colazo over for the absolute rocket, as the Cougars have taken a 6-point lead, with Aiden Williams set to check in here at the next dead ball. Hetherington gets it over to Hugh. Over the net goes Colby. Over to Brown. Over to Breen, as that one, as the Cougars thought that had stayed in, but the refs called it for Bridgewater. So Bridgewater has cut this one down to 5 here in the third set. As that one lands in. That'll be a kill. Will go down on account for Connor Kayer. As that one will go long off the hands of Provost. As that one will be served over by the Cougars, as Bridgewater can't quite handle that one, as they'll bring their lead to 12-7 now. And it'll be Chuck Freeman here back to take the serve here for the Cougars. Freeman gets over to Hugh. Sipped by the Eagles. Back goes Collazo. Sipped by Brown for Collazo, as Collazo's tip goes off of the Eagles, and more specifically number 15, Seth Williams, as that one goes out of bounds off of Williams, and will give the Cougars a 7-point lead here so far in the third set, as that one goes off of Hugh. Over to Vizcaitis, as Aldrin can't quite dig that one out. As Freeman will check out here and head to the bench, and we'll get a water break here for the Cougars. As it'll be number 15, that'll be Seth Williams, back to serve, as a big block there from the Eagles. Gets them back a point, as Nick Bring's shot goes over the net, but is blocked by the brick wall. That is the Bridgewater Eagles defense. As that one can't quite be saved, as it'll be a double tap, and it'll be a point in favor of the Cougars. Collazo goes off the net, and that one will go out of bounds. And Parker Dewall will check back in here for Bridgewater. And Dewall will get the serve here for Bridgewater, as he'll get over to Collazo, set by Brown. Back to Aldrin, off the hands of Hugh, as Hugh can't quite bring it back. So it'll give the Cougars a 6-point lead here by a score of 16-10 here in the third set. Jenkins, as the Cougars go back and forth, as that one goes off the net, and it'll be another point here for the Cougars. It'll be Dominic Jenkins here back to take the serve here for Averett. Jenkins gets it over the net to Prevost, as that one is blocked by the Cougars. Over Collazo, as it's tipped and off his face, as he couldn't quite bring in that set. As he'll laugh about it, as we see a big grin on his face here from the broadcast booth. So it'll be Aiden Weaver back here to take the serve here for Bridgewater. As he'll get over to Collazo, set by Brown, as a big kill off the hands of Liam Aldrin. Gives the Cougars a 7-point lead here, 18-11. As Brown will find the serve. Vizcaitis with a little swipe over the net, as that one will land right in front of the legs of Aldrin and Williams, as they can't quite bring that one back. So Bridgewater will bring the lead to 18-12. And it'll be Green here to serve it away here for Bridgewater, as Collazo is right there for the dig. As Aldrin didn't quite recognize that the ball was coming over his head and lands right in front of him, as he was not quite happy with himself about that one. So Green will be back here to take the serve as Aldrin is right there. Set by Brown. Over Hernandez. Gets it over the net for Dual. Over to Vizcaitis as he'll set it for Prevost. And Prevost will pick up the kill. So Green will be back here for his third consecutive serve. Aldrin. That was Brown who set it for Aldrin, but Bridgewater picked up the point anyways. So Coach Tillman wants to talk it over as the Cougars have now given up 4 consecutive points as their lead has been cut to just 3, 18-15, as we'll step aside here for the Cougar timeout here on the Averett Sports Network here on Flow College. We'll be right back. As it'll be Green here back to take the serve here for Bridgewater. Green will hit it right into the main part of the net and will give the Cougars back the possession. And will expand the Cougar lead here to 19-15. So 5 points away here from set point. Aldrin gets over the net to Hugh over the Vizcaitis as that will go out of bounds. And it'll go towards the Cougars. As a good serve from the Cougars and from Aldrin gives the Cougars just a 5-point advantage. As Aldrin goes over the net and goes off the back line. And it'll go out of bounds. And it'll bring the Cougar lead to just 4. As Bridgewater will pick up that point. As that one goes over the net to Aldrin. Over to Brown. Set by Collazo. Over to Vizcaitis. Off of Colby Jacks. As that one just lands right in front of the Cougar defense as Bridgewater gets another point back. Now it is 20-17 in favor of the Cougars. That one goes over the net for Aldrin. Over to Brown. Back over to Collazo as Collazo's shot goes long. It'll be off the fingertips of the Eagles. So 3 points now until a set point here for the Cougars. As Hernandez will check back out here for Averett. Hetherington over to the Bridgewater defense as that one goes way long off of Kayer. As that point was not for the Cougars, it was for the Eagles as the score is now brought to 21-18. Brown gets over to Breen, over to Kayer, back to Prevost, over to Algin, over to Brown, over to Collazo. Collazo's block goes off the hands of Kayer and will be a point for the Cougars after all. So Breen will now get a seat, and he'll check in for Chuck Freeman. Freeman will get the serve here for the Cougars. As Bridgewater wants to talk it over, as they call a timeout, as Coach Frey wants to talk it over. We'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network just after the timeout. As Freeman will be back here to take the serve here for the Cougars, as they will have the possession arrow. It'll be Chuck Freeman here back to take the serve for the Cougars. As Freeman will serve it away over to Hugh. Finds Jenkins as a quick swipe ends up in a point for the Cougars. Brown's court vision is excellent, as he finds a spot within the Bridgewater defense and brings the Cougars one point away from set point. As Weaver was right there, the Cougars will now have set point. 24-18 in favor of Averett, as Chuck Freeman will be back here to take the service. Hugh will be right there as Aldrin can't quite dig that one out, and a point will go back over to Bridgewater. Over the net goes number 8 that for Bridgewater. That's Jet Backer, who has checked in here for the Eagles and will get his first minutes of today. So Backer gets the Eagles a point and will get the serve. Backer goes over the net to Aldrin, over the Brown, as Collazo is right there, and the block goes out of bounds off the hands of Weaver. As Averett takes the second set, so she takes the third set here in Danville and takes a 2-1 set lead, and will look for the match here in the fourth and final set here in Danville. We're going to take a quick break here on the Averett Sports Network with 2:40 left to go here on the clock. We'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network in just a moment. The fourth and final set of this one is about to get underway here in Danville, as the Cougars have built a 2-1 set lead, hoping to take a 3-1 set win here from the Eagles and get revenge on their loss to Bridgewater at Bridgewater here earlier on in the season. As the fourth set starters look like it's Hernandez, Collazo, Jenkins. Jenkins will check out here for Hernandez because Hernandez is the libero for the Cougars. As it will be Breen back in here for also Williams, Aldrin, and Collazo, as well as Brown. So Brown will get the serve here for the Cougars, as they'll start out this fourth set. Brown finds Hugh over to Vizcayetis. Breen set over to Brown, set over to Collazo. Collazo's shot is off the hands of Weaver as Collazo gets that one back over to Brown. Over to Aldrin. Aldrin had to reset himself. Back over to Aldrin. Finds Brown on the serve. On the set as Aldrin is right there as Bridgewater couldn't quite bring that one back. As Bridgewater will give the Cougars a 1-0 set lead. So Brown will be back for the serve as it'll go off the hands of Duell and Weaver, as he was right there for Hernandez. Brown gets over to Collazo. Collazo's shot is blocked by a big block on the front line of Bridgewater. So the Eagles bring this one to 1 point apiece. As Hernandez couldn't quite get there on the serve. As Bridgewater gives themselves a 2-1 point lead here in the fourth set. As Green puts that one into the net. And it'll be all evened up here in the Grand Center at 2 points apiece. As Aldrin will be back here for the serve. Aldrin over the net goes to Hugh. Set by Vizcayetis, but it goes backwards. As a little miscommunication there from the Bridgewater defense gives the Cougars a 3-2 lead here in the fourth set as they look to expand that lead. Aldrin over the net to Hugh. Set by Vizcayetis and shot by number 15, Williams, as Williams puts that one away for the Eagles. So Duell would now check back out here for the Eagles. As this one is tied at 3 points apiece. Vizcayetis goes over to Hernandez. Dug out by Brown. Dug out by Kayer. Over to White. As that one lands just in on the back near side corner. As the Eagles have now taken a 4-3 set lead. Vizcayetis on the serve as Aldrin digs that one out, finds Brown, back over to Williams as Williams can't quite put it back over the net as that one goes into the net. And Bridgewater now on a 2-point streak. As they have now built a 5-3 lead here so far. Vizcayetis goes over to Aldrin. Over to Brown, over to Breen. Breen off of Vizcayetis, over to Weaver. Finds Vizcayetis, swipes over the net to Aldrin. Over to Brown, set by Brown, over to Collazo. As Collazo's shot goes over the net. And stays inbounds over on the far side corner. So it'll be a 5-4 lead now here for Bridgewater as Averett has now cut it down to just one as Hetherington goes into the net. And can't quite get that one back over. So Hetherington, after that serve, will check out here for Aiden Williams. Williams will also go to the bench. And will get a breather. As Bridgewater has now built a 2-point lead here, 6-4. As Prevost now gives Bridgewater a 3-point lead on that serve. As Averett just had no one nearby to bring that one back. Score is now 7-4 in favor of Bridgewater. As Hernandez is right there as Jenkins goes off of Hugh. And Hugh can't quite dig that one out. As Averett will get the point and the possession back. As Hugh will go over on the serve. Over to Provost. Back to Weaver as Weaver's point goes over to the Cougars defense and can't quite dig that one out. As they have now brought their lead back to 3 points by a score of 8-5. As Williams goes over to Colazzo. As that one was a big block by number 13, Corbin Green. As Green now gives Bridgewater a 4-point set lead here, 9-5. So that one goes off the net and goes off of the hands of Hernandez. As the Cougars can't quite find that one as Coach Tillman wants to talk it over. So he'll take a timeout and we'll take it with him. And we'll take a break ourselves and we'll be back here on the Averett Sports Network in just a minute. As the Eagles serve that one away, it'll be off the hands of Williams as that one will go long. And the Cougars will get the possession arrow back. And Colazzo will be back here to take the serve as he'll get over to Hugh. Over to Vizcaitis, I should say. Over to Brown. Back over to Aldrin as Aldrin's shot goes in. As he brings the Cougars to just within 3 of the Eagles. Colazzo over to Hugh. As Brown is right there as Hugh digs that one out. As that one lands inbounds, or out of bounds, as Bridgewater will get a point back. As that one was just off the side of the line here nearby. As Hugh brings out a towel to mop the floor as we have a little bit of sweat on the court as we pause play here. So it'll be Dual back to take the serve here for the Eagles as Brown is right there. Jenkins' shot is blocked by the front line for the Bridgewater Eagles, as they now expand their lead to 5 points as they look to fight back. As Hugh ties his shoe. As Duval goes over the net to Hernandez, as it's tipped by Brown, finds Aldrin as he digs that one out as Hernandez can't quite get there. As Bridgewater now built a 13-7 lead. As that one goes off of the Cougars. As Bridgewater on a 7-point run. Duval goes over the net, and that one goes way out of bounds and off the back line. And Aiden Williams will come back in here for the Cougars, as Hernandez will check out. As Jenkins goes over that to Hugh, over to Weaver. Weaver's shot goes over to Jenkins, finds Aldrin and Brown. Jenkins goes into the net and gives the Eagles back a 7-point lead. Over the net goes Weaver on the serve. Finds Aldrin. Over to Brown. Backward Collazo. Collazo's little tap over the net. Hugh and Duval right there as one of them had to call that one. As Hugh was right there for the dig. Finds Weaver. Over to Vizcaítas. Back over to Breen. Finds Brown. Over to Aldrin. Aldrin's shot goes off Weaver. As Weaver's dig goes way out of bounds. As the Cougars looking to mount a comeback here. And to end this one right here. That shot goes into the net as Aldrin couldn't quite bring that one back. So Williams comes back in for Davian Hugh. As Corbin Green goes over to the Cougar defense. Over to Duval. Over to Vizcaítas. Back over to White. As Brown couldn't quite bring that one back. As Bridgewater has now expanded their lead to 17-9. So Corbin Green will get the serve here. Green will find Hernandez over on the Cougar side of things as Aldrin is right there as a strong attack goes off of Green and will bring this Eagle lead to just 7. So Liam Aldrin back for the serve. Liam goes over the net to Hugh. Back to White as a big block off the hands of Williams and Breen. And goes back off the hands of White for Bridgewater. Will give the Cougars back a point. And the Cougars have the lead within 6 now. With the score being 17-11. As that one goes off of Hugh. Over to Vizcaítas. Off of White. Off of Brown. as that one couldn't quite be brought back by Aldrin. So Bridgewater gets back on another little bit of a run. As Vizcaítas finds Hernandez. Over to Brown. Back to Collazo. Dug out by Hernandez. Over to Weaver. A big swipe from Williams. Gives the Cougars another point back as they bring this deficit to just within 6. So Joel Hetherington will be back here to take the serve as that one can't quite be dug out. So the Cougars now bring the deficit to just 5. As Hetherington goes back over the net for his second consecutive serve. As Colby Jackson's right there, or Colby Kayer, I should say. As Collazo is right there on the attack. Tipped over the net by both teams. Over to Breen. Brown finds himself at the set. Over to Collazo. As Collazo can't quite hit the back line. As the score is now brought to 19-13. Over the net goes the Eagles. Over to Brown, over to Breen, and Breen's shot goes off of Davian. So the Cougars pull it back to within 5. 19-14 is the score. Freeman gets over to Weaver. As Kayer is right there for the missile of an attack that lands right in front of the Averett defense. So the Eagles are now only within 5 points of tying this one at 2 sets apiece. Excuse me, now it's within 4. As the Eagles look to bring this one to even. As Williams goes over the net to Aldrin, over to Brown, over Collazo, blocked by Green. As that one lands out of bounds. As the score now it gets to 22-14. Williams over to Hernandez. Over to Brown, over Jenkins, as Jenkins' shot lands in bounds, and the Cougars get a point back. So the Cougars not going down without a fight. So Collazo right here for the serve. That one goes off the net. Dug out by Duel, over to Hugh. As that one goes off the hands of Kayer. So the Cougars looking to fight back in this one. As Collazo goes over to Provost, over to Hugh, over to Collazo. Back to Brown. Brown swipe over the net. Over to Weaver, over to Breen. Over to Brown as Jenkins is right there. As that one goes out of bounds. And will be off the hands of the Cougars. So Bridgewater will get a point back. As they'll get the possession arrow. So Duel will be back for the service. Aldrin finds Brown as Duel can't quite bring that one back. So it'll be Jenkins here back for the serve. Jenkins get over to Hugh. Get over the net to Hugh as the Eagles bring a strong attack on that one as Collazo can't quite put it back over the net. And as the Eagles will be 1 point away here from taking the fourth set. So this one will probably come down to a fifth and deciding set. So Weaver goes over the net to Aldrin as Aldrin patiently waits on that one. So Brown will be back here for the serve as he'll get over to Duel, over to Hugh. Back to White as Hernandez will be right there. Brown for the set, over to Aldrin as Aldrin's shot lands in. A beautiful shot by Liam Aldrin hits the far side as he brings this Eagle lead just to within 5. As he was right there for Vizcaitis as a deciding shot here in the fourth set by Corbin Green. Wins the fourth set here in the Grant Center. And this one will come down to a fifth and deciding set. As we'll take a step back here on the Averett Sports Network. And we'll come back for the fifth and deciding set here in just a moment. Well, if you're still sticking around here with us and you're still tuned in, This one will come down to a fifth and deciding set here between the Averett University Cougars and the Bridgewater Eagles, as Bridgewater came back in the fourth set to tie this match up at 2 sets apiece. So if you don't know the rules of volleyball, volleyball rules state that a fifth and final deciding set will only be played to 15, even though the first 4 sets went to 25. So this one will only be played to 15. It will be decided as soon as the point hits 15. As Green is right there as Brown goes out of bounds, and the first point will belong to Bridgewater. So Green gotten the first point on the board for the Eagles. Will get the serve here as Aldrin goes off the line, as the Eagles will pull to a 2-point lead. As Green is right there, as Hernandez finds Brown, as Williams is right there, as he'll cut the Bridgewater lead to 1. So Aldrin will be back here to take the serve. As that one will go just off the line and will give the Eagles a 2-point lead. As the line judge will allow the substitution. It'll be Vizcayetas here back for the serve. Vizcayetas gets over to Hernandez. Finds Breen on the line. Over to Hernandez. As Williams lets the ball land right in front of him because there was no way for them to play that point. So Vizcayetas will get the serve as the Eagles have jumped out to a 3-point lead here in Danville in this fifth and deciding set. As Vizcayetas will get over to Aldrin as that one is tipped. Hernandez had dug that one out as Colazzo's ball goes way out of bounds. So the Eagles have built a 4-point lead here in Danville, as Brown is right there for Colazzo, as Colazzo's shot goes way long. As Coach Tillman wants to talk it over after the Cougars have given up 5 points here by a score of 6-1. We're going to take the timeout with them, and we'll be right back here on the Averett Sports Network for the last of this one. Coming to the last of this one here in the Grant Center for the last of the first match of the day between Bridgewater and Averett. Next up here, if you stay tuned, will be the second match of the day after this one. It'll be the visiting Warren Wilson Owls and the Bridgewater Eagles. in the second match, the second final match here for Bridgewater. In this try match as Hetherington goes over the net. Over to Kayer, finds Vizcayetas, back to Kayer as Kayer's shot goes long. And the Cougars have now cut the lead to just 3. So Averett not out of this one at all. As Hetherington will go over to Weaver. Bumped over to Kayer as Brown can't quite get there. So the Cougars now jump to a 4-point deficit. So Prevost will get it over to Aldrin as Collazo is right there as he gets back in rhythm. As he puts that kill in the backcourt, or say in the front court of the Eagle defense, as he brings the deficit just to within 3. So Freeman will get over the net to the Eagles as that one goes out of bounds. And it'll be another point here for the Cougars as the Cougars on the comeback trail. As they have now brought this one to within 2. So Freeman will go over that to Hugh. Saved by Vizcayetas. Over to Weaver. Back over to Hernandez. Over to Brown. Over to Collazo. Collazo off the hands of Hugh. As they'll be swiped over the net and go way out of bounds. So the Cougars, again on the comeback trail. Now only being down by 1 point and 1 point away from tying this one up at 7. As that one goes over the net and goes way off the line. As the Eagles have now built a 2-point lead. So they'll switch sides as required here in a 5th and deciding set. So they'll take a minute to do that. As that one will be thrown out of bounds. And Williams will check out. And it'll be Backer here to serve it away here for the Eagles. As they'll look to expand their lead as Hernandez finds himself as it's tipped over the net by Brown. Finds Backer. Gets it over to Weaver. Finds Hernandez. Set by Brown. Over Collazo as Collazo's block. As Collazo's shot is blocked, but it's met by Green and Kayer, and it goes out of bounds, so a little too strong off the near side line. So the Cougars back to just within a point. So for Collazo, this will be huge for the Cougars if they're able to tie this one up. As Kayer's shot goes out of bounds, and the Cougars are all tied up here in the 5th set at 8. So Collazo will be back for a second consecutive serve as Weaver's shot is blocked and will go out of bounds as the lead will go back to up by 1 in favor of Bridgewater. So a back and forth contest here in the Grant Center for the 5th and final set. Duwall goes over to Hernandez, but it's off the fingertips of Hernandez as he's not quite able to get that one up and into the air. So 2 points now is the deficit. For the Cougars, you have to bring that one back. As that one goes into the net off of Duwall. So an easy point here for the Cougars. So Jenkins will look to get this one tied up again. Jenkins goes over to Hugh, over to Vizcayetis, over to Collazo, over to Aldrin, off the hands of Hugh, over to Vizcayetis. As that one's off the hands of Collazo, as that one goes out of bounds off the hands of Collazo. So a 2-point deficit is now for the Cougars again. As that one goes for Aldrin. Set by Brown, over to Aldrin, but a big block goes out of bounds and off the hands of Green and Vizcayetis. Brings the Cougar deficit to just 1. So Brown will be back here for the service. This will be key for the Cougars. As Duwall, off the hands of Duwall, back to White as that one lands inbounds and right in front of Brown as he's not quite able to bring that one back. So the Cougars now find themselves again in a 2-point hole. Green back for the serve, over to Collazo. Set by Brown, over to Williams. White, over to Collazo, over to Brown. Back over to Aldrin as Aldrin's shot lands out of bounds. And it'll be a 3-point lead here for Bridgewater as they are 2 points away from taking the first match of the day. Green over to Hernandez, set by Brown, over to Breen, tipped by Green, over to Vizcayetis as that shot lands inbounds for Bridgewater. As that one was off the hands of Weaver as Weaver gets the kill. So set point and match point here for the Eagles as Averett looks to get a point back and stay in with in this one. Vizcayetis back to White as a big block by Breen goes out of bounds as Bridgewater takes the first match of the day, 15-10. So Averett now drops the first match of the day as they'll drop to 4-15, and Bridgewater will get the sweep, if I recall correctly, as they do not get the Cougars again this season. So yes, they get the season sweep of the Cougars here in this first match. So as the Cougars will drop to 4-15, and the Cougars, and the Eagles will improve to 4-19. So Warren Wilson and Bridgewater is what is next here on the Averett Sports Network and Flow College. So we'll be back here in just about half an hour for that one, and we'll step aside here on the Averett Sports Network. Stay tuned, folks, here for the second match of the day, I should say, between Bridgewater and Warren Wilson.